The Rising of the Shield Hero, Volume 6, Chapter 140, Desertion and Discovery. Everyone's appetite had been sated. Slave Merchant had also returned and night had descended. Hey, are you really going to do it? Isn't it obvious? But everyone was nice and the food was great. No, those guys are definitely trying to deceive us. It was noisy outside. It was dark and hard to see, but for some reason the new slaves were running toward the field. There was somewhat strange atmosphere. Just what were they planning? They tried to push their way through the bioplants field. They got caught in the defenses I established. Hearing the scream, the other slaves left the house and headed toward the field to examine the situation. For the time being, I have to go out and have a look. Shield-ni-chan, we heard a scream! When I exit the house, a concerned-looking Kale rushes over to me. It seems like Raftalia went ahead to look at the situation. It's alright, there won't be any deaths. I had prepared for the worst-case scenario and only implemented some defense measures. Worst-case scenario? I could bind them with the slave crest, but there's already the problem of being unable to give detailed orders. Well, in short, I'm talking about desertion. Yes, the slave crest is the possibility of prohibiting desertion itself. Once they leave the grounds, including death was even possible, but as one would expect, I paid no small amount for these guys, so killing them would be bad. Besides, I have planned to designate slaves to peddle outside the village. That's why I configured the penalties to only cause chest pains for the slaves staying in the village at night. Help! The monsters I used to maintain the soil, dunes, had emerged from underground, coiled around 3 slaves who tried to escape and hung them in midair. I had given instructions to the dunes so that anyone fleeing from the established site would be apprehended. To abscond so suddenly, aren't these guys courageous? Now, Fumi-sama! After discovering the circumstances, Raftalia joined us with an urgent-looking expression. I thought this commotion of escaping would happen sometime, but it was later than I had expected. That was because Raftalia's old friends became attached to me for some reason or another. Moreover, many of them had lived here to begin with. Now then, you guys, where were you planning to go after you escaped? I faced the slaves who were hanging in midair and inquired. Who's going to say anything? The boy who was acting as the leader replied. He definitely has a lot of spirit. It would be great contest between Kale and him. Is that so? If you don't talk, then I'll let that fellow play around. But is that alright with you? By the way, dunes also have their own personality. Their appearance may be of a huge earthworm, but they're quite amiable to love and play. Isn't this kind of rebellious kid, then I should let them... If it's this kind of rebellious kid, then I should let them play all night. To be honest, I don't have any obligation to raise a slave who just attempts to run away. I'd like to sell them back to the slave merchant immediately, but I will give them a chance. Look, just talk. Who's going to say anything? If that's the case, I'll turn you into bait for my followers. I looked at the situation and gestured indirectly to Firo. The slave distanced themselves from Firo. Firo-chan also eats people? She does have quite an appetite. If you deny Shield-ni-chan, you'll be bait? Seriously? The slaves gathered together and whispered. She was standing around in her human form, but read the mood and turn into your monster form. No, that Firo. She denied it. Did she learn culture when she came here? No way. Such unnecessary knowledge. Raftalia whispered to the slaves quietly. Now, Fumi-sama is saying that kind of thing, but... So really? Shield-ni-chan is somewhat naive. I can hear you, you brats. Jeez, now I can't use dignity or bullshit. Silence. The leader of the captured slaves also has a doubtful face. You should read the atmosphere. But the thing about becoming monster bait is real. If I order you to, then it won't mean that no one will become bait. Become a caterpillar, become a dune. If I say be bait, then you might get eaten. When I turned my attention to the monster hut, the caterpillars were sleeping soundly. Will they turn into butterflies? I cast aside these needless thoughts. The dunes played with the slave children. They're huge, so they're great for using as threats. If this were an 18-plus game, the caterpillars and worms would be used for sexual assault. Now talk! Eat! Look, if you don't talk, then the dunes might get hungry and eat you. The slaves who originated from this village arbitrarily gave the dunes names, and they won't eat him, right? I want to say that they only eat dirt, but now's not the time for that. At the worst, another Fiorovial will eat you guys. Eat us! I could feel a gaze from the hut. I shook my head with a swish. Everyone was raised naively. Look, they're waiting impatiently. Eat, eat! The chant changed the mood. But for those who didn't know what life in the village was like, it would appear to be excitement. It would have been great if I could have used this from the beginning. What's your answer? Fine, but you have to spare the others. The runaway slaves leader reluctantly revealed their story. It seems to just be gossip among the slaves, but in Aramark's harbor and other various places there exists a faction that's stipulating the release of slaves. In that faction, a plausible rumor is being spread around saying that demi-humans can have their slave crest unconditionally removed and will be set free in foreign countries. Are these Siltwelt's people? No, for argument's sake, even if they resembled Siltwelt or Shieldfrieden's people, it seems that recognition of the same species is strong. If I had a slogan that said I would unconditionally free them in another country, I would have some sort of scheme to help me make a profit. Someone who would do that with good intentions doesn't exist. If we could use a boat, it would be convenient as transportation, to become the working force of a foreign country from a safe place, or something like that. That would be a crueler treatment than just being as slaves. It's felonious. Or it could possibly be that slave merchants circulated to recycle business. At the least, I saw that these guys couldn't wait for their desired ending. However, it's a dependable technique for business, using a smile to deceive the slaves who turn up. Come to think of it, the slave merchant said so before he left. No matter what, orphans have increased due to the spirit turtle's influence. There are people who become slaves prior to ending up as orphans, and it seems there are a few human slaves, but I heard they make humans into slaves in other countries. It seems like the slave merchant is busy thanks to that sequence of events. He did leave pretty quickly after consuming the food I made. Did you guys know? Now that you mention it, I'm starting to remember. Yeah, there was that kind of story. If you knew about it, then tell me earlier. Jeez. Shield Nichan's place is so comfortable that we totally forgot about it. Yeah! It was a good inclination, but somehow I feel like I'm being underrated. Right? Yeah. Next time, you'd better tell me these things. Okay! Because I have no idea where this money-making story comes from. Until now, we've just been revising our actions after things happen, but if we can read ahead of time, then we can not only keep damages to a minimum, but it would be even possible to forestall them. Knowledge is power. Now then, desertion is a serious crime, however, I'm not a demon. You guys have only just come here, so I'll postpone it for a short while. Think about it carefully. I instructed the Dunes to release the slaves who were taken in by Raftalia and the others. Educate them properly, that's all. The runaway slaves defiantly glared at me with hostility. If it doesn't seem like they've reflected, I'll sell them when the slave merchant comes again. I can recover my money back if I raise their levels and they become stronger than usual with the shield's correction skill. He'll probably buy them happily. Let's hope that they can get along with Raftalia and the others until then. It's alright. This won't be like other places where all you do is suffer pain. That's why we'd like you to help with our village. The 3 slaves murmured to Raftalia and the other slaves averted their faces uncomfortably. So yeah, the 3 that were not originally from the village ran away, I guess. It has been very painful for you, hasn't it? However, a little bit, with just a short time, it'll be fine. So I'd like you to compare him with your previous masters. You know, that person is a hero of the Shield-sama. Eh? You've heard the rumors, right? He's the one who saved this country and even became a legend in the country of the demi-humans. Yeah, I heard about it. Some say that he is the Saint-sama who will save us demi-human slaves. Yes, and you know, that person may have a bad mouth, but he has been rebuilding the village to save us slaves, and we'd like you to become a part of that power. But it's okay if you don't believe it yet. Little by little, we'll show you proof that it's not a lie. Well, for the time being, I'll leave it to Raftalia and the others. I've returned to my room and resumed my compounding studies. I've become able to do a considerable amount of the difficult compounding. If I have all the ingredients, I shouldn't fail. I have the materials prepared by the queen, so let's give it a try. The next day, Izuitani Dono here. The female knight came intruding early in the morning. What's up? Did the spirit turtle appear again? Can you even handle that much excitement? I'm still in the middle of recuperating. This time I'll have to rely on the 7-star heroes. Well, whatever happens, I also want to be able to participate in it. And you seem to have some urgent business. I have a message from the queen. I was told to convey it immediately. The contents? Seems we discovered a companion of the hero of the spear. What? Discovered a companion of Moriyasu? From her words, it doesn't appear to be bitch, so it's either woman 1 or woman 2. From this expression, you can't tell me who is who. You can't tell who is who. Well, that's because I don't know their names. He just doesn't. A corpse? Wrong. Everything seems to be that an aristocratic father was worried about his daughter, but she's fed up because she was forced to help with her mother's housework. It's a story I've heard before. It's about her. So now I'm supposed to use her to slay Moriyasu, huh? And in the end, she returned home and helped with work. Her assistants didn't seem to be very proactive, but that sounds like her. She would have felt it was troublesome. Don't you have to guard her? It seems we've listened to her circumstances, and so we'd like Iwatani Dono to meet with that companion and ensnare the hero of the spear. I see. There's a possibility of her attempting to rejoin Moriyasu. We'll be gambling on whether it'll go well or not, but it would be good if we could catch Moriyasu. Will Moriyasu's companion cooperate with that plan? She might double-cross us and pass information back to Moriyasu. We've already assigned a shadow for surveillance. We've also received a report that she currently wants to cooperate. Well, if my assumption is correct, she could discern right from wrong when she cut ties. And now she was trying to protect her own position by plea bargaining. Understood. Where should I be heading? I'll give you the map. I received the map from the female knight and took Raftalia and Fido with me to prepare for our departure. You guys, please help the newbies level up. Yeah, understood. I understand. Risha stood in the front and nodded. Sorry, Risha. If there's information about Itsuki, then inviting you will take precedence. Yes, I'll be waiting. Recently, Rishia's level has risen up to 35. It's almost time for her class up. As that may be, I want her to class up together with the others, so it'll be a bit later, but for now, the capture of Moriyasu has the highest priority. So he's just hiding. Because they fucked up and released the spirit turtle, so now they're all hiding. Huh. Fucking idiots. Idiots.